Bring a Trailer podcast. Okay, so back to Panameras.
Wait, wait, Zach. The reason I clicked record as fast as I could is because you were talking about Panameras. Today we want to talk about things we're thankful for. Are you actually thankful for cheap Panameras?
For the horrible, lumpy first-gen Panameras, kind of. For 15 grand.
And that's a twin turbo, or that's normally aspirated?
This one was a V8 out of Canada.
Amazing.
Are those junk now, or are those Ubers now, or are those like, what are those? Like, are they on the road
Dude,
still?
wouldn't you be stoked if a Panamera
That's
pulled
what
up
I'm
as your
saying.
Uber?
Like, I'd rather have that than like a Leaf or whatever shows up to take me to the airport.
Tinted taillights. Every buy here, pay here lot in the country has one of these right now, right?
Maybe.
But are they 14.5? I would still guess that those were 29.5.
I mean, this one had a little bit of a Canada discount, but
I mean, that's pretty amazing.
they're good value.
I remember when my neighbor in SF got one of those and cruised up and he was like, check it out, I got a new Porsche. And I was like, rah! That was like when we were still not convinced on those. I don't know if people are convinced on those. Am I a terrible person for saying that's not my jam, that car?
I was pretty upset when they came out, and now I've changed my tune a little bit because it's a $14,000. You know what I mean? Like, I was upset when Boxsters came out, man. I thought that was like them selling out.
It's the end. It's the end. I was at the LA Auto Show when they introduced the SUV, the Cayenne, and everybody was crowded around it. And I was sitting there saying, this is the end. This is the end. And then that's the car that saved the company or whatever.
Totally.
Right? So
it's giving us all these RS whatever things.
Okay, 11S last week, 76,000 miles. S, the V8 one, $18,000, San Diego.
Amazing.
With good wheels.
Good San Diego car.
Sorry, you use your short vernacular. 11 means it's 2011 Porsche Panamera S.
76,000 miles.
Under 20 grand.
$18,000.
People are like, take it away.
So when's the
my
race
gosh.
series coming?
Total spec series. I kind of like them. The one that I never knew about till I worked at BAT is the long wheelbase, or like the executive or whatever. Yeah, okay. It's like the Maybach version.
I didn't know that was a thing.
As if the rear roof line wasn't suffering enough.
Have we listed one of those?
We sure have. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get an executive turbo.
I mean, that's
for the executive in a rush.
Totally. Wow. That's great stuff. Well, for those of you listening, Alex here, joined by Zach and Randy, if you haven't figured that out already, I have an idea that I think these guys might be a little worried about it. I sprung it on them about 5 minutes ago, but we are recording the week before Thanksgiving, but this episode will drop on Thanksgiving Day. And so I wanted to find out what these guys are thankful for in the automotive world. I have some thought starters, but do you guys have anything that sprang to mind when I said that?
I am thankful for how many auctions come up when you search Batmobile right now. Are you guys up on that?
Great one. See, I knew there would be good fodder here, Randy. List them out, Zach.
It's pretty amazing. We've got the 78 OG television series replica that's based on a Lincoln and looks like a lot of the concept cars at the time.
Barris. The original one is Chuck Barris.
Right. And then we have, who's the modern director?
It's Nolan. We have a Nolan.
The Tumbler.
Right. Which is not a Batmobile, but kind of a Batmobile. I guess you're probably supposed to say Tumbler.
I can't tell if it looks like something a superhero drives or not. Like, you look like kind of a dork rolling that thing around. Right?
Yeah. My son has like the Lego thing of it, and he loves that thing.
There's really inboard front wheels, but either way, it's at no reserve, which is wild. I mean,
what's the bid at? What's the bid at?
It's an EV, Randy. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think I got an alert for it. What's bidding at for that? Is that live?
Yeah, it's at 31.
Okay.
But it's 5 days left, so it's...
Somebody going to pay 85 grand, 100 grand for that? What's that going to go for?
I kind of think it's got to be in the six figures, right?
It's well timed because I believe, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, they're selling real clones, drivable clones of the Tumbler right now. I think they're $3 million a pop. Like
3M?
Not real movie cars, but like they're like basically like a exact
I heard
recreation.
About this. It's the movie studio that's selling them, right?
Yes.
That's how dire the film industry is right now. They're repurposing themselves.
The props.
They need to fund their next
replica.
But I think they're not even selling props. They're building them to sell to the customers.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Because the real ones used in the movie are probably, I mean, in theory, worth more. No one's going to give them up if they've got one. But it's cool that somebody bothered to go to the effort of building this replica.
I mean, the interior is pretty legit, and it's got Recaro seats. It's not like cheapo Kirkies in there or anything.
Road trip?
I mean, those
Road
are
trip
right
in
on
the,
the RS4, right?
Pretty much same.
What would win, Randy, your RS4 or that in a drag race?
I don't know what this thing is. I'm looking at it. Doorstop. It's a weird vehicle.
Zach, hit us with the rest. The other Batman content is awesome too.
The other Batman content is a 80s amusement ride.
I think it's 5 80s amusement rides.
Are there 5? Well, I'm only looking at the first of them, I think.
Click on that seller, Mark Skrillo, shout out, repeat. I think he's got a number of these live, or maybe some of them are still coming up, but he's got like a Batmobile, a Bat Wing, a Bat helicopter.
I think those are to come.
Okay, interesting. All right, teaser for those coming up, but he's got a series.
By the time this is live, I bet those are live.
Yeah,
so
they
search
probably will be.
Batmobile.
Really cool stuff. Heavy Batman content. Do you like the original Adam West Batmobile?
I mean, I like the original show, and I think it's just comical to watch them driving around, and it's blue screen, and they're like, the music and the whole deal, the costumes. I think it's hilarious. I like that fire came out of the back of it.
Yes.
That was maybe one of my favorite parts. And the Bat Cave when I was a kid, when it went like the boulder rolled away or whatever, and it came ripping out, and it was clearly all made out of paper mache or
100%.
whatever. All that. I was, I don't know, old enough to realize that all that was pretty hokey, but pretty fun. So I like that car. I never understood the Barris connection when I was a little kid and how it came to be, but I always thought it kind of had GM proportions, right? So I thought it was built on
Caddy or something.
Or a Pontiac of some sort, but it was pretty neat.
I think that design is cool. The Batmobile of my youth is the Keaton Batmobile, the like, who's the director? Tim Burton, the Tim Burton Batmobile. That's the one I remember. That's the one you like too. That also has fire on it.
Oh, I see. You have to search Batman themed. That's why I missed.
Oh yeah. Oh, so the rest of them are there. I thought they were because it's only one live. Batmobile.
There's the 60s Batmobile. There's the 90s or 2000s, whatever that is, and then there's kiddie amusement rides in helicopter form, in jet boat form, in fighter plane form. All the stuff.
Batman jet boat.
All the Batman stuff.
As long as a jet flame comes out of the back. Unclear if it's jet or rocket.
I don't know. I just hope the same person buys all these and just lines them up. You know what?
Totally.
That would be cool.
Okay, this is the Lincoln concept car I always think of when I see the original. This 55 orange car.
Yeah, a little bit.
A few years ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
The sides and the way the exhaust comes out and the way the wheels are kind of shrouded. Yeah,
there's something pretty similar about the design language
thing. Yeah.
What is the name of that show car? That's obviously like some kind of for the auto shows.
I don't know if it actually got a name. It was just a 55 by a custom coach builder. And I think they only made 1 or 2.
Awesome looking. All of an era. The jet era. And they actually put a jet engine on the Batmobile. Oh, man, that's cool.
We'll put links in the post. But I mean, this photo with all 5 of the Batman memorabilia items that are being auctioned separately is pretty cool.
Well, I'll hit you with a few of my things. That's a great way to start it out. Zach.
Panameras and Batman. Okay, we got some weird topics so far. Where are we going from
My
here?
life's pretty bleak, guys.
Well, Zach and I have been talking about, as I mentioned in the last podcast, I'm going to drive my NSX out to the desert, hand the keys to a local partner and sell it. And I'm going to take a final kind of drive through the desert. As you guys know, I've wanted to drive that car through the desert since I've had it for like 8 years, and it's always broken or I can't get it to pass smog. And now it's dialed. And so for the final trip,
we had one good LA drive together.
That was an epic one. That was right after you bought your NSX. So I've been thinking a lot about road trips through the desert. And it is maybe the thing I'm most thankful about automotive wise in my life. Just the ability to do it, wanting to do it again. It's the thing I'm thinking about all the time.
Oh, that's good.
And the loose enforcement on speed down I-5 and into the desert.
100%.
Well, they know you're coming now, so be ready.
We'll launch this after Matt
What's
Graham
that stop called? What's that stop called right at the base of the Grapevine where they put it in and out in, and there's that stuff, and it's like your last
the
stop.
Outlets?
I forget what it's called.
El Tejon outlets?
El Tejon, maybe the El Tejon outlets.
Whenever you pull in there, it's like there's like 3 CHP guys chilling out, ready to go get you.
Waiting
so they're
for people
looking
to come
for Porter.
bombing down out of there.
Yep,
it's a steep grade.
Well, yeah, I just did that drive in the NSX for the 3rd time in the last 2 months.
How was that?
it's just crazy the difference in psychology when you're driving an NSX of other drivers compared to a Ferrari 360, which is a total midlife crisis car. It's smooth, easy, anonymous, quick in the NSX. In the Ferrari, you're getting flipped off, you're getting honked at. Nobody wants to let you in. Same drive, similar pace.
That's interesting. Does the NSX get no love? I guess when I drive mine around, it doesn't get very much attention either.
It gets a lot from other men, such as the life as car fans.
Totally. I'm trying to remember. Is it Lebec? Is it Lamont? I'm trying to remember the name of the town out there.
Yes. I just grabbed gas at that Chevron in the In-N-Out parking lot. I should know.
Yep.
That's my normal stop.
That is the spot.
Totally. And they have those outlet malls there. I'm trying to remember the name of it, and I can't for the life of me. I love that drive. That time when we did it was awesome. Anyway, so I'm very thankful for even the concept of driving to the desert.
And for your final route, what are you going to do? Is there going to be a big sentimental end to your life with that car?
I would kind of like to do what I wanted to do many years ago in it, which we had talked about doing as a pair at some point, which is to drive out I-50 again, but I already kind of did it. So I don't know if I'll do that. Maybe down 395 on the east side of the Sierras, which I haven't done in a long time. It'll take me through Ridgecrest, my birth town, and I could go visit my buddies who I haven't seen in a long time.
You're going to feel like the king at Ridgecrest in that car.
Absolutely. I'll drive down my buddy's dirt road in the NSX.
I think you need a king ranch to be the king of Ridgecrest.
Totally. So actually, that does remind me, getting right into the Grapevine, it was totally backed up when I was driving to LA. Like, I was texting my friend for dinner, hey, I'm going to be probably an hour and a half early. And it immediately turned into, I'm going to be an hour and a half late. And I allegedly reversed down an on-ramp and found this dirt road that I drove for probably a solid 5 miles, maybe longer, on the side of I-5, and it shaved at least an hour off my trip.
Wow.
So I got a nice NSX dirt rally stage.
Oh,
drive.
good for you. That's
Didn't
fantastic.
you have that same story, but it was in the other car?
That I was driving through a bunch of fields where people were
You always choose
fruit.
you do it the hard way, man. Well done.
Anything but sitting in traffic. I can't handle it.
I was like, haven't I heard this story before? And it's a different
You're having deja vu?
different trip. There you go.
Oh, good for you.
You have okay.
How was that on your coilover?
Picture it didn't happen.
No,
did
it was great.
happen.
It was smooth.
Did
It was a graded dirt road.
I-5 rally stage. Highly recommend.
Well done. We need to map that out for people.
You and I took my car on that horrible road on the DWA rally, that dirt road, my NSX down that was not great. Suboptimal. One other quick thankful thing that I wrote down that I'll put in here, which you're going to hate, Zach. I did this in part.
Bring it on. I'll try to stop cutting you off with all these random memories that are hitting me.
I talk too much on these things. Long gearing, tall gearing.
You're thankful for?
Yeah, I love the gearing in the NSX. I knew you wouldn't like this. I love the kind of ridiculously tall gears in it because it lets you really feel the power band of an engine in a way and appreciate it in a way that when you're shifting all the time, you can't. I love shifting cars, but I love it. I think it suits the character of the car so well.
I see that perspective. It's controversial to say you're thankful for tall gearing, though.
I know. No, that's part of, me. I'm a contrarian. That's part of why I'm saying it. Everyone's like, you got to change the gears. You got to change the gearbox.
If you like the state of Nevada as a concept, you can be thankful for tall gears.
Totally.
Middle of nowhere.
I do like the concept of the state of Nevada.
You should troll everyone and swap an automatic into it.
Oh,
really be contrary.
Original snap ring gearbox included in sale.
Yeah, no, reinstalled.
I was actually thinking about selling that car. I was going back and watching old videos, and Dan or Don Edmonds, whoever, he took it on Adam Carolla's podcast. And my car is on a early Adam Carolla video podcast from like 2011 with Mr. Edmonds taking it there.
Hilarious. And now it has more celebrity ownership with you and your tenure with it.
Totally. And Art from DWA, right?
Taking it to the BAT podcast on the regular.
It's slowly going to less and less famous people.
Where does it go from here? I don't know. We'll see.
What nano influencer is going to buy the car from Matt Randall?
That's a thing.
I'm a nano influencer, Randy. Don't you know?
That ought to be your BAT username. You've got a good BAT username, but now today we found 2 better ones.
Oh my God.
Yeah, what's the other one? Donk Snob? Is that?
Donk Snob.
Everyone
who
can
was
find
a real
Alex
person.
in the comments now?
It was a real person.
I'm thankful for donks.
I am too.
I think that's a deep cut in the car enthusiast industry that's alive and well.
Is that a moment in time, or are those still being created right now.
I saw one the other day, and like I will be honest with you, I get very excited every time I see one.
Was a
because it's rare.
Sawzall purchased at Home Depot today that will be taken to a car's fenders to make those wheels.
Good donk. I don't even think you need to cut the fenders.
Yes,
the
you
lift's
do.
so tall.
If you get them high enough.
Inside, not the outer fender, but the inner fender. Come on.
Maybe.
I don't know.
How do you turn if you don't cut it?
Oh,
There's a lot of,
yeah.
I have a lot of questions about how those work in general.
Man.
You definitely need to be rich in U-joints. That's a great one. I'm thankful for donks too. What about you, Randy? You got anything you're thankful for?
What am I? I'm thankful for plenty of things. You wanted to steer this towards car thankfulness. I'm thankful for the BAT website being stable when there's 980 listings on it. That's one thing in my life.
I'm hugely thankful for that.
I'm thankful for a few vehicles that are running. I got an Audi that runs. I got a BMW that runs
You got
at
Boost?
the moment. I got Boost in the Audi. I got some of the fleet is kind of back in
You know about that, Zach?
I'm
fighting
thankful
shape.
both of you are stable at this volume.
Somewhat.
That's questionable.
I don't
for
know.
Me.
Yeah,
I
depends
was
on who you
actually-
ask.
Very top of my list was the fact that we have 950 cars live.
Mhm.
Which makes me thankful how lucky we are, how blessed we
Mhm.
are.
What was the boost comment?
Randy's RS4 was making
I
no
was
boost.
driving around in a
Mm.
bi-turbo with 0 pounds of boost, trying hard to be a 2.8 NA. And when they asked, it was actually one of the better moments of dropping off a car to get fixed. And they're like, what's wrong with it? I was like, well, it basically drives like a standard Audi with no turbos on it, which I've also driven. I was like, it drives great, like if it was a different car. But for this car, it drives terribly. They're like, okay, cool. So anyway, they went and troubleshot that, the guys at 034. And
Are they getting you squared away?
now it's dialed in. It's here. It's at HQ.
I blew up the plastic charge pipe on my 1M for the brief moment that I owned that car, and
Nice.
it basically turned into a 128 after that point.
There you go,
which I
right?
actually liked better.
Oh. That's what they first looked at. They're like, well, did it blow itself apart? Like, apparently that's
Yeah, I mean,
one of the
if
normal
you are
failure modes.
A B5 Audi bi-turbo owner, you're terrified of all,
which I am.
totally
I'm a
anything,
driver.
anything to do with the turbo system.
Integrale, B5, RS4, Renault R5 Turbo. The R5's been the most reliable.
Well, the R5 showed up in pretty rough shape.
After a 5-year investment.
Yeah, after a multi-year build, it has been mostly reliable. A couple of them on staff who were hanging out with me in a parking lot in Sisters, Oregon, with it not starting for about 45 minutes while we poked around the engine and tried to get it to start. I don't know if they would say it's the most reliable thing
Just
ever,
of those three.
but of those three, it probably is it's on the podium.
Nice.
So, Randy, you are or not thankful for vintage turbocharged
So
cars?
I'm thankful for some of the fleet. I'm thankful I did a good drive in the R5 Turbo a couple weeks ago with my son. Got to start taking him on rallies and
Where'd you
him
guys go?
getting stoked to go. We did one kind of circumnavigating the terrain around Alice's restaurant in Woodside, California. There was an event put on by the guys from Genau, AutoWerks, who's a BAT local partner, and they do a charity drive once a year. So we did that. My boy went with, so that was fun. I come from a bunch of different rallies and my dad and I doing it, right? So to flip that around and do it with my son is pretty cool. So anyway, thankful for that for sure. Yeah, I mean, all the baseline stuff of health and family and getting to play with cars a little bit is solid. But yeah, being around here, I'm thankful for people who come into the office and we get to hang out at BAT with some of you guys and talk about listings and
You hear
Have
that,
a good
BAT
time with
employees that aren't in the office currently?
they don't listen to this, do they? They might, but no, we'll get everybody here before long. But we're having some fun. I'm thankful for having some fun and a good time.
Amen. One of the sorry, go ahead, Zach.
Oh, sorry. I can't stop being thankful for donks. I just need to finish two more thoughts. One is there's a great donk scene at Oakland First Fridays. They're alive and well. The other,
What is First Fridays? I don't even know what that is.
the first Friday of the month, there's just chaos around Oakland. The streets shut down. You can walk all around. They used to do this thing called, now I'm really losing the plot. I think it's still going, Hood Slam. It's this amateur WWE event that takes place
Sick.
down there. Oh, it's phenomenal. Would highly recommend. And then the other donk that I'm thankful for is in my old neighborhood. There's a turquoise Lexus SC 300 donk.
Whoa.
Like the Supra.
SC was a popular one to do, right?
Yeah.
in turquoise,
Like
though.
the sports donk.
Yeah. Total
It's
sports
the
donk.
Sporty. The sporty.
You need the lightest 26s you can find.
So, okay. Anyway,
Those are great. I'm thankful for all that. I'm thankful for you, Zach, for bringing that energy into this room.
Thanks. I gotta know, Randy. So Ray is 14. When did your dad first take you on a rally like that?
Oh, we started doing it together. I'm trying to think if I was riding shotgun or if honestly he's been my dad's been my navigator for a bunch of years, right? So took him on a melee early day snowball rally where we met Alex long time ago, pre-BAT era.
Is that 2011, 12?
Like 12-ish, something like that. Shout out to my dad who got both Randy and me lost, and Randy's dad. Shout out to Chuck.
Thankful for
who
Google
may or may
Maps
not listen
all
to
of a
this.
sudden.
Totally. Well, I mean, even in 2024, Chuck wouldn't be able to figure out like how to navigate on a phone, but he couldn't read the route book.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. I don't know if, he and I drove around and did all sorts of just sort of living life, covered miles in old Mercedes and stuff back in the day, but that wasn't rally style. The first real sort of planned event that I did was in 2006. And then shortly after that, I started taking him with. So we've had some fun.
You guys have been on a lot of epic things. Zach and I have been on multiple things with Randy and his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of blown turbos, one other thing that I have on my list of automotive things I'm thankful for is Honda reliability. I've been appreciating it a lot recently with my yellow Civic, which is now, I believe, somewhere between 500 and 1,000 miles past the service light telling me I need to service it. I have not washed it in like 6 months, and it's just great. It just works.
Service optional.
Totally.
In that car, right? Just keep going.
So much fun to drive. I drove past another tonic yellow SI coupe the other day. I've never seen another one. And the guy rolled his window down and his mouth was hanging open. He was like pointing at me. He's like, oh my God, same. Like we're the only two nutbags in Northern California who own a Civic coupe in that color.
I'm thankful for your new friend.
Totally. His was lowered with tint and like blacked out badges. So he had gone a little harder than I have.
You're 2 owners away from your car becoming exactly that.
Oh man.
I think I'm thankful for the steady stream of great cars readily available both on the site and just on the used market. I don't know, because you're such a contrarian, Alex, what you will think of this, but there's few brand new cars that are inspiring right now, I feel like.
Oh, I'm 1,000% on board.
And there's
with
a
that.
lot of features I just genuinely enjoy, like real buttons that are going away.
Yes.
But there's no shortage of great cars 2018 and below that are phenomenal and fun to own and are out there.
I was looking at a Buick. I don't even know what it is. It's a relatively modern Buick all-wheel drive wagon.
Oh, yeah. Is it live on the site?
Yes.
Yeah, I just took that.
Do you know what that?
I do know
it's
what
an
that
Opel.
is.
I think it's an Opel underneath,
It
isn't it?
seems like an Opel.
It looks like a
product.
European car, and I've only seen one ever. It lives a couple blocks
What do
away
they
from
call
me.
those things?
Is it a Regal still? It's
No.
like Regal X or something. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's an Opel, but it's an all-wheel drive.
It's like, how did this sneak through? It's one of those. It's like a Cadillac Catera
yes.
and like the weird Jag station wagon.
It
Like neither of those should have made it
totally.
here, but somehow they did. And now we're listed one of those on BAT.
It was 1,000% a failure. I bet they sold 12. And
Regal TourX.
TourX, that's right. Dude, cool looking.
They look great.
Yes. So I'm with you. I'm having these
Get some
moments where I'm
Vauxhall
just like,
badges
I'm
on
like,
there.
it's part of the reason I need to sell my NSX. I'm just like, I can't stop looking at like, I'm just so excited about everything. On here, Randy, I'm thankful for T5 swaps. I'm thankful for fastback Mustangs. I'm thankful for big American V8s, all that stuff. NA Motors, Zach, speaking of all the problems we have with turbos. And, the NSX, another thing I love about that high singing 8,000 RPM motor, that's gone.
I'm thankful we can still drive all this stuff too. Like if you wanted to, you can have a Model T with a plate and just commute in it.
I
100%.
saw one of those on the road.
No way.
Not that
Where?
long ago. People are doing that in my neighborhood.
Yes.
You guys are doing First Fridays and WWF or whatever. Like people in my neighborhood drive Model Ts. I guess it's just a
That's
they're
awesome.
different jam.
Just different 26-inch wheels on two different
That's
cars.
right. That's right.
26 wooden wheels.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do a Model T. A Model A, though, I mean, there's Model A clubs who go on big tours, right? You can put a 2-speed rear end in them or a higher final drive. And
It's
you can
just
actually-
cool. It's not that you'd want to, but you could if you wanted to.
I mean, I hate to like repeat content from last week, but one of the questions of the week that I hit back with was, what pre-war car would you drive daily? Weird.
For sure there's cars for
Totally. But the winner, weirdly, was a Accord. And I'm like, I actually own 2 of those cars. And that's the worst. They can break all the time. You think
that. Winner where? Who's winner?
The winner, that was one of our questions of the week.
Oh, the questions.
Yeah.
People said it on the site. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
I wish I'd had you
What
for
are you
that.
on? 40 Ford Coupe.
I said 30. That did you see the green 39
Yes.
coupe that Crandall sold,
Yes.
that 911R sold? That's the one for me.
So I was driving again in my neighborhood like 3 nights ago, and it's dark, and I was driving the GMC pickup, which has pretty 1970s spec headlights, so it can't really see
Seal beam.
too far beyond. But I see some wide, low, dim, yellowish round headlights coming at me, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be good, right? We pull to a stop, and it's a 40 Ford Coupe
Whoa.
down, like kind of rumbles past, and you can see the V taillights as he goes the other way. And I was like, car I've never seen in the neighborhood. I like to think that I know all the cars in the neighborhood, even though that's not even close to true. But like this guy cruising through at nighttime, I was like, who is that dude?
Good for him.
Yeah, I was super, super stoked
That's
on it just to
freaking
see a
awesome.
guy cruising in that. But yeah, as a daily, it's pretty gutsy, but I would still do it.
You could daily a 32 Ford, just even.
I mean, here and there.
I think you could. You don't think you could? I think you could daily a Model A around San Francisco.
Yeah, you can. But I mean, that front suspension design,
I know,
man.
I know,
even a
I know.
40 Ford, it's like miles ahead. At least you get a real frame and some
I think
suspension
you need
arms.
I think you need the flathead. I think you need that amount of movements.
but like transverse leaf era.
Yeah. They all have
eventually you get to some coils.
Well,
later.
that was the argument with the Cord. It has a 4-speed and hydraulic brakes and independent front suspension. My problem is they make a Audi B5 S4 look like a Honda in terms of reliability.
It's true.
Interesting. I just think for that question, the obvious answer is blower Bentley, but
Bentleys were really good cars back then.
maybe a little
The
tough to
blower,
parallel park.
maybe a
You don't want a
NA
blower.
Bentley.
Yeah.
Bentley with a normally aspirated engine, I think would be great. Beck said Duesenberg, so there's a supercharged
there
car
we go.
that was
There's
very
a-
fast.
there's
Rich
correct
guy
answer.
cars. There's some rich guy cars. I'm going for a Ford that's like 19.5, 22.5.
What-
You guys are like mil. Let's go for the mil.
No,
3 mil.
My immediate, I was like Ford, some kind of a Ford. They built so many of them, and they're so reliable.
Mhm.
People, they were used as daily drivers.
Mhm.
Anyway, sorry. I'm thankful for pre-war daily drivers.
Heated
No.
seats.
Oh,
Thankful for
heated
heated
seats
seats.
is a good one.
It's heated seat weather.
And yet,
Yes.
pre-war daily drivers and heated seats.
Zach's like, let's get away
Let's
from
get back to
pre-war.
modern Bentleys.
Yeah. It's a weird.
My Civic
Transition.
has heated cloth seats, which I freaking love.
Hmm.
It's really, really good because already cloth is kind of nice temperature wise. And then and they have like 3 levels of heat. They're wonderful. The Civic Type R doesn't have heated seats, I don't think.
No, it doesn't. And I just sat in Mike Barron's newer Civic Si than yours, and it didn't have heated
Yeah,
seats.
I think it was the end of.
And Randy just shared with me that E30 M3 heated seats, which I have, can ignite.
Oh, for sure. Well, that's all BMW. That's make wide.
Really?
BMW. Oh, yeah, man. I think they were doing warranty claims for those when I worked there. That was like a special category. Was like covering new leather seat covers for this person.
Just
whose
all
seats
torques
ignited.
for third-degree burns.
Yeah, I
People
don't
in the
know.
back.
Who knows?
Did I ever told you that Randy has scared me with BMW fire too? I came into the company 9 years ago, all hot on E34 M5s. and he's like,
E34s.
E34
Those
M5s.
cars ignite,
And
don't they?
Randy's like, your dashboard's gonna catch fire.
I have one data point on that. That's all I have. But that can happen.
How did the dash catch fire?
That can happen. I don't know. It's a buddy in Santa Cruz. That was the story on that car. Was
Is it the
insurance replacement on that
biodegradable
vehicle?
wiring harness of that era?
I don't know. Who knows? But in general, they do all right, don't they? Is the E34 Mafia going to come after me and be like, "These are the best cars ever"?
They won't be able to
I
catch up to you because their cars will all be broken.
Well, B5 Audi and that is like a dead heat. But it's a coin toss.
A dead heat and not moving forward.
It's a coin toss on who's going to break down in that drag race. But anyway, I want an E34 M5 really badly. But yeah, I'm a little slightly terrified of those. Sorry if I project some of that fear factor onto you, Alex.
I feel the exact same way. I want one badly, and I'm terrified of them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like another car, Zach, where I'm like, I want one right now. If I had one right now.
Weird. Let's go here. I'm thankful for a shop that can fix a 2000 era's Audi.
100%.
That's unbelievable. That's like invaluable. Like, how would I do this without that? Without
I thought
them?
about putting that on my list, just like having a reliable person who
Oh
you
my
trust to work on
gosh.
your car. It's like, I'm sure I've told the story before, but the shop where I used to work, Richard, my old boss, he was so trusted by his customers. People would fight in their divorce over who got to keep going to see him because you don't want to lose that. It's like Don, our construction guy. You don't want to lose the reliable guy.
Once you got the person, right?
Yep.
And my unfortunately, my car taste is so all over the place that I don't think there's one individual that could wrap their head around that kind of weirdness. Like, here's the LS swap GMC, and then here's the RS4. It's like that doesn't work. So unfortunately, I have to have this network of expertise.
And then you worry about when one of them dies or retires because you're like, oh my God, that might be the last guy who can do this.
And half of my time is spent in an Uber on the way back from a faraway repair shop, right?
Back
I mean,
to
I
the
think the
Panameras
AC.
we're talking about.
Yeah, now it's Panamera life. Half your life in an Uber.
Totally.
But anyway, getting AC installed in that LS swap truck was like out in the valley, out in Zach's old stomping ground. It was like $180 Uber to get home. It's like, what am I doing? Anyway, some of that stuff's crazy, but you got to have it for the expertise. You got to follow the expertise unless you're able to do all this stuff yourself.
Which cars are we going to see become disposable because it's the right intersection of early electronics and no people that will touch them anymore?
The one that always comes to my brain when I think about this, and I was worried about this when they were new, is the S-Class from like the early aughts or like the mid-aughts, where like they had all these screens and everything. They're all twin turbo, and it's just like, oh my God. Like,
and somehow they're like $8,200, right? Even though sticker was $105.
But that's why, don't you think? That's probably the Panamera thing.
What do you do?
They made enough of them, and there's enough money in replacing ABC pumps that I feel like that business will be alive and well.
It might.
Microprocessors.
It's the low production where people are like, there's no business case in the long term, right?
Yeah, unless it's super valuable. Like, I mean,
Alpina B7 BMW. Getting back to BMWs in like 2006.
Oh, you mean the Bangle era car?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
You were rolling one of those.
Good luck.
Right?
I was dealt one of those for a couple of weeks as a young employee, but. Anyhow, there's definitely cars in that category. Are we thankful for those? I don't know if that's in this same category.
I think just thankful that people are still working on them, to your point.
Yeah, that's true. Thankful for the ones that are still running.
People find the best ones and they put them on BAT. I'm thankful for those folks.
That's true. That is true.
It's a labor of love with those. One other thing that I was thinking that I'm thankful for, Zach, recently, and this may come as a surprise to you, is racetracks, like availability of them. The fact that it's so easy, at least for those of us here in the United States, to jump on a racetrack and drive our kind of street car around. I recently did one of those exotic sports car racing things, and it was the first time I've been on track in forever. And it was intimidating, and I was frustrated by how rusty I am. But at the same time, I was like, God, this is like kind of amazing that you can just go do this.
What was shaking the dust off like for you?
Really painful at the beginning. I was just like, after my first session, I was like, I need to leave. Like,
why?
Because it was so frustrating and slow. And I've never driven cars like that on a track before.
What did you drive?
It was I think it's called a 488. It's a twin turbo mid-engine Ferrari, like late model, like probably 20. I should know this. I work for BAT.
You were like every other guy rolling up to the supercar rental place. Just give me the red one.
Well, I went to go. Here's something that's interesting. Speaking of Honda reliability, I went to go drive the new NSX, the electric one. And
did you?
That's what I wanted to drive because I think they're cool and I think they're kind of undervalued and no one likes them. So there's my contrary thing. And also my wife could drive it. They're easy to drive. And I think she doesn't like riding in any of my cars. So I think she'd actually probably like that. She loves Acuras. And it was broken when I showed up, which they didn't tell me until I'm like literally at the front counter, like giving them my driver's license. And they're like, what do you want to drive instead? And there's like 50 cars on a screen behind the guy. And I'm like, I don't know. I asked if they had a 458, which is what I would have liked to have driven, the last NA Ferrari. They didn't have one. They had the ancient F430, which I was like, is that car tired? They were like, yes. So
which I
you've driven that exact car, right?
I asked to do 20 laps in it, and after 10, they made me go into the pits to cool it off before I could do my next 10.
Well done, Zach.
Nobody was driving that car. I saw it sitting there all day. I should have probably driven that car.
It was haggard. No, they make you shift. I think they revved at 8,500. They make you shift at like 6,800.
Interesting. So anyway, I drove this Ferrari, and it was terrible. I mean, like I couldn't. There were so many grannies, electronic things. I couldn't. Look at that.
Don't read into this the wrong way, but I just am showing you a picture of the new NSX.
Yes.
Is the new NSX not the mashup of your NSX and your Civic Si?
Kind of is.
That's what it is.
Those taillights are the current BRZ.
Is that, there's BRZ in it, but I'm just saying, if you what is the blend of modern Honda and your original NSX? It's this car.
It is. I mean, it has very little to do kind of driving dynamic wise,
totally,
at least with the original one. But the styling,
isn't that? I mean, if you had to do that,
I think it's so good
it's
looking.
That car.
It's like an MDX T-boning your NSX currently.
It's got some MDX.
So he wants MDX, which I'll give him.
I
was trying to be a little more optimistic.
You're being
than that.
charitable. Yeah. Sorry, no gloves. I got to drive that car at the same place, a year or two ago also, and I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, you liked it.
It was the most pleasant surprise of the day.
The Ferrari.
You should probably get one of those. I've never thought of that, Alex, but you probably ought to own one of those.
I think they're super
cars.
underrated because it's a 9-speed. The engine sounds fantastic, and you're grabbing so many gears with the paddles. It feels super engaging. The brake-by-wire system, I was so impressed with because I actually like the brake feel on it. They're better than the Porsches.
Interesting.
And the all-wheel drive system lets you get a lot of slip, which is super cool. So
what I found with a lot of these cars, I drove a 992 GT3 after that, is that both of them, the Ferrari especially, it had kind of a lot of understeer. I was surprised by that. And so I was hoping that the NSX would do that thing where the front electric motors pull you out of the corner. I think that's one of the tricks it does, right?
The all-wheel drive, the front pulls it out, but the the rear drive motors let you get some slip. So you're never panicked or feeling like it's out of control. Instead, it just feels lively and fun, and it lets you get away with a lot of stuff like that. And then it sounds fantastic when you grab 3 gears coming out of the corner like that.
Sick. The GT3 was a lot more fun to drive, and I think I learned the track a little more. Anyway, I just wanted to say it's crazy that you can jump on a track. Randy, you're thinking about doing some track work in the near future, and it's wild that you can just do that if you opt into it.
You can do it all across the country. You can do it at small tracks. You can get on at the big name tracks and do stuff. I think there's a lot of fun excitement to go be had with that sort of stuff. Zach's kind of the king at this table of doing some of that stuff, but it's inspiring. It's fun.
I'm the king of doing it and getting last place.
There you go.
But for you two, you can't get last if you never start.
The whole time I was on that track, I was like, I wish I had a spec Miata right now. That's how I could learn how to do this. It was too much. I don't know how they throw lay people into those
spec
cars.
Miata will make you go, I wish I wasn't here right
now. Zach recently did that too. I'm telling you, he's in front of us and all this stuff, Alex.
Oh man, that's great. Not to be cheesy, but as we kind of move into the episode here a little bit, a couple kind of more heartwarming things that I'm thankful for recently. The most recent question of the week is, what's your favorite automotive journalist? And I was reading through it. Did you read any of this?
I read the whole thing.
So much Peter Egan love. And so just our BAT community getting to be part of all of this with you two guys, two of my favorite people who are also great colleagues. What a charmed life I lead. I'm so thankful for everything that BAT has given me. You two guys, our community, the opportunity to freaking interview Peter Egan.
That was incredible. I loved, you jumped in and left a comment in that, which people should read, and people loved. And a lot of people were just picking Peter Egan, but people were picking all sorts of other folks too. And that was a question.
A lot of Satch love.
There was a couple. I don't know if I'd say a lot. There was a couple. But the fact that people jumped into that one, that was one of the more lively ones of the questions of the week that people have had an opinion on. So we'd love to hear more. If you folks out there listening want to go throw your 2 cents in there, even after it's all tallied up. I think there were some deeper cuts. I mean, Satch is a little bit of a deeper cut, but there were some interesting ones from some early days writers, little Brock Yates, rebellious love in there, and some other cool names. I was encouraged to a couple other. The interesting part is how many of the people that were mentioned have been interviewed by you for the BAT podcast.
A couple of them.
I think the BAT podcast roster from here back to, we're about to hit number 100, back to 0 of who's joined. I don't know. I'm a weirdo, and I had a hand in a little bit of it, but most of it was been done by other folks on staff. But that list is, I think it's better than a lot of other big name podcasts where they get kind of random car people that are kind of predictable, and we're getting old editors of engine builders and stuff like that. Nobody's doing that. So anyway, I'm thankful for that. I think it's pretty neat to see some life breathed into some of those brands and folks and names that some people aren't talking about anymore with the sort of print mag industry in the shape that it's in, and BAT is able to breathe some life into that. I'm proud of that. I think it's cool.
I love it. And I hope you guys will do episode 100 with me, and I think you had a great idea, Randy. We should go back and talk about all the cool people we've had in the history of the podcast. It's been almost 4 years now. So
I thought I'd save it till then, but my white whale, John Davis, hopefully someday.
We still haven't gotten them, right? No. They reached out. The people that run Motor Week in Owings Mills, Maryland, 21117 are they reached out and were like, do you want to advertise on the show or whatever and stuff like that? So we had some sort of email
dig up
channel.
That email thread, buddy.
But John Davis, I mean, come on, Pat Goss, John Davis, 1-2 shot would be
He's still
incredible.
there making 911 Turbo S vids. And
Is
stuff.
that right?
It's pretty
With the
wild
same
journey
cones
from
on that closed drag
locking
strip?
up the brakes on Chevy S10s.
Yeah.
Into those.
I watched the NSX vid the other day.
Is that right?
It's actually, it is my favorite. It's almost the only car content I can watch
I think
anymore.
that's
It's
where I-
so thumb not on the scale. It's just like,
Yeah.
we're not trying to be cool. We're not trying to do any gimmick.
Instead,
Are
we're
they
just
even
going to
on
complain about
YouTube?
the ergonomics of Ferraris and Porsches.
It's just so
Yeah, they're
earnest. Yeah, it's
They're
on
on
YouTube.
YouTube. I almost wish it wasn't. Like, they're so alternative.
I
It makes
know.
me so happy. I was doing a brainstorm yesterday with a super smart buddy of mine, and he's like, "You should do this with video." He's like, "But don't even put it on YouTube. Just like have it expire." Like it's like the A-Team was when we were kids. It's like 8:00 Tuesday night. If you're there, great. If you're not, all your buddies talk about it tomorrow without you. It's like that's what everybody's talking about the next day. And it's like you can't just go watch it 3 days later and add up the views or whatever, you know? And I was like, oh man, that's talk about contrarian. That's a pretty funny way to do it and probably wouldn't work at all.
I love all that. You got your other one. You got your other dream. You grilled the hell out of Cena. So that was
Yeah,
fantastic.
that was amazing.
Mm.
Other thing I'm
Oh, yeah.
thankful for,
Zach.
that Chrysler still exists.
Oh, that's interesting.
I was thinking about Oldsmobile the other day.
Buick. We were just talking about Buick.
Yeah, but Olds, dude. R.I.P.
I mean,
But Buick's close to R.I.P.
Yes.
But Chrysler, just based on their success right up until the 60s or so, and now, like, it's been a tough ride over the last 50, 60 years for them.
Minivan, 50, 60 years. Come on, dude. 15 years.
What?
The
What?
300, don't they sell a zillion of those?
Well, now if you go to their site, Chrysler 300 is listed under sedans, and it's listed as a 2023 Chrysler 300 that you can still build and price,
That's
despite them not
weird.
manufacturing anymore. And then you get 3 minivans, and that's it.
Yeah, that's
man.
their
Yeah,
thing.
they had the resurgence with that, but from the 70s
You said
to
60 years, though, dude. That's a little harsh. That's a little
70s
rough.
through 05, it's pretty dark over there.
Daimler Chrysler.
Chrysler
era.
Viper is a product,
Yes, that's true.
which I
Yeah.
respect. I actually like Chrysler badging on the Viper.
They wanted to distance themselves so much. Didn't it become its own brand? They're like,
It
we
might
don't want to
have.
be associated with. Wasn't Viper its own brand for a while?
More recently in
Yeah.
2013, where
Yes.
it was SRT Viper.
SRT. That's right. It was the
No,
SRT.
it's SRT.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Uh,
Chrysler's on the rocks. I'll give you that.
sure.
I'll give you that.
And yeah,
I just saw somebody saying they were selling a final edition 300 or something. Didn't we have that? Wasn't Bill Noon
There's
selling
a
that?
final
Yes.
edition.
Yeah, he knows. You know.
Yeah, we've had it.
I didn't realize there was a final edition. But speaking of Chrysler, that's kind of last gasp, and it was. I think it is either on the site now or was doing fairly well.
Challengers. People are still cranking out the Challengers.
I remember. I mean,
Dodge is alive and well.
Yeah.
but
Chrysler was the headline sponsor of the Monterey Historics when it was still called that. And I remember the SRT versions of the 300 and what's the wagon called? Magnum. Ripping around like 4 in a row, carrying execs through the corkscrew and like totally bottoming out, going through the corkscrew and everything. But they were like demo cars. They were just getting thrashed. And I was sitting there and I was like, wow, those sound pretty wild. Those are crazy. I was actually kind of into them.
They had
But-
extra big Hemis in them, right? They were like 6.4s instead
Yeah,
of
the
5.7s or something.
Huge brakes and huge
Yeah,
wheels.
right.
Anyway,
I guess I
to
just
Zach's point, he's trying to forget about that era, and so are most people.
I wonder if 20 years from now, maybe all of a sudden I'll take to Manhattan and I'll go see that. That's the NVIDIA Tower instead of the Chrysler building.
Totally.
Because that's the coolest thing about the brand at this point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
I love
such
the
an
Chrysler
icon,
building.
but for how much longer?
Yeah.
Randy's got a Chrysler in the
The
fleet.
Instagram Tower.
It's not the Sears Tower anymore. Now it's called some
No, it's
weird
something
name
else.
in Chicago.
I
No, but
still-
it's
I
been
still
like
call it the
through
Sears
a couple.
Tower.
It should be the Sears Tower, but
Yeah.
there's a couple of new names on it. Anyway, no, I see what you're saying. So you're thankful they exist, or
holding
you're thankful they're
Oh,
holding
yeah.
on? Okay, we'll see
Oh, it's so sad.
which brands are gonna.
I'm thankful for 300 Gs.
Do you guys
Letters.
see
Yes,
Jaguar's last gasp?
Oh my gosh,
there's been
Art
some
Deco
talk about
letter.
that.
even my non-car people are like, what WTF with all this redesign, with the graphic redesign. It's pretty bad stuff. That is owned by part of my problem is
Tata owned them for
Okay.
a while? I don't
Yes.
know who currently owns
ooh,
them.
speaking of really mean commenting about how a company has struggled for decades, I believe one of my comments in my text threads on Jaguar's rebranding was so sad for a company built great sports sedans and sports cars 60 years ago, but hasn't made anything good since. And I actually got some pushback.
Yeah, you should get some
The
pushback,
90s was
man.
okay.
Come on. Yeah.
S-Type.
XJR,
XKR, yeah.
XKR, and XJR both coming out. I was like, those are cool.
I was trying to be funny and I was being too mean, but it has been a long time since they were at the pinnacle.
Yeah.
I like XJ12s.
There you go.
XJ12 RS is actually pretty sweet.
Is that a newer version? I don't even know what that is.
No, have you seen those all blacked out ones with, I think they're on good 17 or 18 inch wheels. They get a better motor.
Don't know what era we're even talking about.
I
What
think
decade?
it's 95, 94, 95.
Okay, that's a ways
It's
old.
last of the run of them.
That's a ways old. I remember when they came out with that Jag sedan. I really liked it when they went back to the round headlights.
My buddy sent me this as a response to TWR, this crazy thing. Have you seen this? It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's like a singer program, kind of.
Yep. Is it reimagined?
Yes,
Is
it's
that in the
definitely
That
title?
looks good.
It's definitely been
I think the
reimagined.
at least
F-Type
once.
was actually pretty sweet.
Totally. And like
That's another good value play right now.
like very
$30,000.
legitimately, when I was a teenager, the XJ220 was my favorite car. It still remains up there for me. So
That one we had in
Less
Fresno.
than 60 years old. Less than 60 years old.
Yeah.
So bite your tongue.
still a while ago, though.
Still a while ago. True.
Give me some 21st century
True.
wins. We're a quarter of the way into the 21st century. Just want you to know.
That's terrifying.
How about all the eye-paces you're honking at around
Oh,
town?
I was
my
going to say
God.
Waymo. I was going to make a Waymo
Waymo.
reference.
Single-handedly propping up the brand. That new the new script will look great all over Waymos.
Both of these brands we're talking about, the Chrysler vans, are either Waymo or one of them.
Right. Yeah.
And then, or Cruise or somebody. And then the Jags, all the brands that are like almost,
Yep.
they'll be like, we'll sell you 2,000 units.
So cheap. Such a deal. Great
We'll
stuff.
see.
Are we out of things to be thankful for?
I have a lot more, but I'm not going to like rattle them all off.
Rapid fire.
Okay. No Stripe GT350s.
We've had, and that we sell those on BAT and people win them in the offers after. That's a
Absolutely.
good dynamic.
Collections on Bring a Trailer. We've had so many good ones. We kind of alluded to it a little bit with all the Batman toys, but we've had some other really great ones. Randy and I were just talking about the Porsches.
Ooh, active, engaged, and positive commenters on both the internet, but specifically our website.
Yes.
I feel like the internet, it's becoming increasingly hostile day over day, and we've done such a good job of
Completely
cultivating a positive community.
I kind of lumped all my feel-good ones into my last thing, but yes, the community was one of my bullet points for sure.
Community is big.
Fixed roof coupes. Randy just popped up a 308, white 308 that is either live or just closed.
That's live.
Yeah, it's a late one, 4-valve 83 or something like that. Also the 328 fixed roof coupe. But then Randy was talking about how great T-tops are the other day. So that was meant to needle Randy a little bit because he's thankful for T-tops and I'm thankful for fixed roof coupes.
That GTB ends tomorrow, your car. But I think T-tops are cool. I think we need to get something in the office that has T-tops.
Agreed.
I was looking at
Targa acceptable, or it has to be T? Has to be a bar down the middle.
I mean, something about the
down
bar.
middle, so
I've only
you're
ever
broke and hang on it.
I've only ever ridden in one. Have you guys driven around in a T-top vehicle? And I'll tell you what mine was. Mine was a 280ZX Turbo
Interesting.
T-top
That's
that
kinda
my
strong.
cousin had in Dallas, Texas. We were like driving around. I didn't have my driver's license yet, and he did. And I was like, this is unbelievable. It's like, where are we going? You know what the shifter boot is like in a 280ZX
Oh, it's
Turbo?
huge, right?
It's
Accordion.
It's an accordion, but it's total plasticky. And it's like you're ripping that thing forward and back.
It's quivering.
It's so good though.
Yeah, it looks like a pyramid, right?
Yes,
Like an
yes,
Aztec
yes.
pyramid.
It looks Aztec.
Totally.
Anyway, but the bar in the middle, just the whole thing is very different than a convertible experience or a Targa-esque experience. The bar, it's just ridiculous.
How's the wind
So,
buffeting?
Anyway, probably terrible. I don't really remember. I didn't care. We had the ZZ Top going. I don't know what the wind was doing, but we were having a good time.
My experience is limited to my buddy Matt in high school, whose dad was a used car dealer, and he had a like nadir era C3 Corvette. So I think it was like an 82 or a 79. I mean, really bad when they made like 150 horsepower. And we never took the T-tops off, but they leaked.
They leak like
constantly.
crazy. Yes.
It was like having a cheap, skylight in your house. It's just like there's no way to seal it correctly.
Did you know a Fox 5.0 came with a T-top option, but
The early
1 year
ones, right?
only?
Yeah, we just
87.
sold one.
Did we sell one?
Oh,
Yeah,
87?
I
I
think
thought
last
the
month.
early cars had those too.
It may have been
Like
87
83s
and
or
before,
something. Yeah, okay.
but like on the good Fox that started in 87 and later, like they killed that after I think the 87 year. I think we can double check that.
I don't think I've seen an 87.
but a T-top 5.0 Fox I could be convinced.
How about on a Capri? A Mercury
I could be
Capri?
convinced on either of those. So anyhow, that's I would enjoy doing that. But I wondered if you guys had ever actually rolled around in one or just watched Smokey and the Bandit 100 times.
Sorry, Randy. This one was an 88.
Oh, it goes till 88 at least.
Interesting.
Maybe it goes till 88. Let's see it. I want to see. Oh yeah, T-top.
I'm thankful for the
Fox.
T-top conversion. Now you've got me pretty excited about it. I'm thankful about that. All right, gents.
That's it? That's the end of your rapid fire list?
Well, I have a few others here. You want me to keep going?
Now's the chance till Thanksgiving 25. Maybe you're not
some
thankful
of these
for those
now.
things
I'm like
anymore then.
now I'm kind of like embarrassed by some of these. But one of the things I've been thankful for recently, BAT wise, I kind of thought, what am I thankful for car wise? What am I thankful for BAT wise? All of our local partners, we've been working really well with them recently. That sounds like log rolling, like I'm trying to fluff people up. But I have been thankful for them recently.
Yeah.
It's great working with a lot of these repeat people. I'm going to use one to sell my car. It's a great thing. Randy, that's maybe a credit to you.
Why are you keeping that secret? How you're going to sell your car? Why don't you say it?
I'm saying it.
Who are you taking it to?
I'm going to take it to Matt Crandall.
Did he agree to that yet?
We've had some discussions.
We're in negotiation.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, good. That's a smart one. I would do that just to get his pro photos in front of the mountain.
That's why I want it.
Because I want that photo
Josh
of
to
my
take the
car
pictures
to like hang
with the
on
desert.
the wall.
Yeah,
it's almost worth selling the car just to get the picture job from them. They do such a terrific job with the photos. That's crazy.
Anyway, I'm again a little cheesy. Let's see what else, Zach. I said T5 swaps earlier, Randy. That's more of my kind of Mustang thing. I've been very excited about that recently. We have I don't know if it's a T5, but we have a 300 SL Roadster with a 5-speed swapped into it.
It's a Getrag.
It's a Getrag. Okay.
Yeah, a number of folks swap those in now. I know a guy in Germany that has one of those swapped in, and he said, "Yeah, transformative. Like it's the way to go." I forget if it's it's anything you put in that car is like a downgrade, right? So it's kind of like, I think, kind of embarrassing to say that it's like out of a 535 BMW or something, but I think that's what it is.
I kind of like that though. I'm like ready to drive that. The original gearbox is included, I think. So it's there,
and you don't have to hack the thing. So you swap that in, but it's supposed to make those much more drivable. But we have a 300 SL Roadster with a swap in it right now.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I mean.
Yeah.
Silver one. It's a nice looking car.
By it's on the website.
It's on Bring a Trailer.
Yes.
It's in Randy's garage. Broken. One more kind of cheesy one, Zach, and then I'll hush up and you guys can close us out. But the car community in general has me kind of thankful and happy right now. There's so much more enthusiasm than sometimes people give credit for. I mean, every car thing I've done recently, including going to that exotics racing thing, people are so excited about cars and car culture, and there's young people around and a diverse crowd. And I don't know, it just makes me optimistic about the future of our hobby.
So what's our genuine take on that? I feel like there's been sky is falling takes for a while. Maybe there still are some. And then there's been like puffery, like companies in the business are like, look, it's great. Like, look, this 14-year-old rebuilt a Dodge. It's all going to be fine. Like articles for the sake of articles that don't sound very real. But like overall, obviously we've had a documented uptick in terms of listings coming through BAT. We've seen a softening of prices, but much more volume. We've seen our events be pretty wild in terms of interest level. We've seen other events, right? The Lufts, the resurgence of, F1 interest in the US with 3 races and madness and ticket prices. And
that was part of it. It was in Vegas and like everyone's wearing Formula 1. It was right before the race, but all like Formula 1 paraphernalia everywhere on just people walking around.
So do you think, like, compared to 10 years ago, it's 2024, 10 years ago, car interest then versus now, or 20 years ago, or whatever comparo you want to draw, where is it right now for enthusiasm?
I think equal or greater. And I think less concentrated at brand new cars. I think there's a general cynicism around 2024, 2025 model cars.
Because of the stuff in the news, or because those cars are lame or expensive, or I feel like car stuff's in the news so much with like tariffs and Tesla and
electric mandates,
blah, electric mandates and all this sort of stuff. Like there's a lot of chatter about car stuff, and some of it positive, some of it negative.
The think pieces I remember, and maybe it was 10 years ago now, but they've been more recent too. And this is in some fairly prestigious publications, are kids only care about their phones. Cars are dead. Car culture is dead. And anecdotally, my evidence of my eyes, but also just like the numbers and how successful our company has been, don't show that that's actually true. So I'm skeptical of that.
I
Maybe
think
that narrative's starting to
The
change.
thing you can count on since the dawn of time is 16 to 18-year-old kids want to get away from their parents. So the car is a necessary tool for that to happen.
My son, Randy,
I just keep
you
flashing
launched
for
Randy at
us coming
Fox
our way.
Bodies, and
Yeah,
now
I
it's all
love
over.
Fox Mustangs so much.
Why isn't there a Fox Mustang in this HQ?
Yeah, that's a good question. Valid question.
My son, Zach, like he's like cannot wait to get his license and get out.
Yeah, but that's because you're a weirdo and you have cool cars in the garage. Come on.
Maybe.
How about your next door?
I thought
How about
Randy
the 12-year-old that lives next door to you?
Okay. Data point. The new guys who just moved in next door, Holger, shout out Holger, my German neighbor, brand new German neighbor, tech guy, not really a car guy, but a little bit interested in cars because he's a tech person. 18-year-old son, they asked me about cars. They just went out and bought an A3 and he's out in front washing it all the time. He wants to ask about my NSX, 18 years old.
Well,
German data point, also unfair. They're totally crazy about cars. I love that you have a new German neighbor. That's awesome.
We
I
need to
had a boss
take
named
a
Holger
moment
once.
and embrace and enjoy Randy's comment that your son wants to get away from you because you're a weirdo, Alex.
I told him he can have the
Yeah,
Civic.
but if you're a better parent, maybe
I
you
know.
want to stick around.
Hmm,
That's actually
maybe not.
probably
No.
yeah.
It's a good, healthy situation. If your kids want to hang out with you too much, it means something else is wrong, right? So, yep.
Did we close that topic out, Randy?
I just think that's a fascinating topic.
I just, my part of it is I'm a contrarian, but I'm kind of like, it's alive and well. That's how I feel. Car culture.
I feel like it's honestly hard to gauge, but as long as what you guys are saying you're thankful for about the accessibility of doing cool stuff, what makes cars cool is, the escapism is cool, that it'll take you across Nevada and get you away from your problems temporarily, unless you're driving an Audi. But the fact that it enables you to go so many cool places and see so many cool things. I was looking at photos yesterday of the Baja 1000, which just happened last weekend. And that is still like one of the most absurd things that happens on planet Earth. If you go look at what's going on and who's doing it, and it's a bunch of crazy SoCal folks that like go across the border and then just go rip through the desert countryside. I mean, the fact it's lawless, right? I mean, the fact that that kind of thing can still happen in a day and age where everybody's got a camera in their pocket is kind of astonishing.
Totally.
That
right?
reminds me, the guy I sat next to on the bus in Duluth had done the Peking to Paris
There you
with
go.
his 16-year-old son.
There you go.
Just, that's wild that event exists.
Yeah,
For
that
across-
almost can't. I'm scared of like the actual like civilizations that are driven through on that one eventually
Fair.
saying, we're not going to let these people do this right now. We're done. Right. So that one's crazy. But no, they could in Mexico as well. But no, the fact that you can go see those sort of sites and do those sort of things, similarly to how it was done long before the internet and again cameras on every body, I think is very cool. So that as long as there are dreams to be dreamed and trips to be made and that sort of stuff, I think there's a solid amount of enthusiasm because staring at your phone and playing video games and stuff is interesting, but man, seeing something rip by that you've never seen before and people in it smiling, you kind of got to be like, man, I kind of want what that guy's got, like where are they going?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's some fun stuff.
I wonder if Zach is right to a certain extent that the enthusiasm is not necessarily with like the new car market, but like the enthusiasm about, to your point, Randy, doing things in cars, doing exciting things in cars. I've long had this theory that maybe regardless of what happens with new cars, car culture stays around. Like think about horse culture. Horse culture didn't die when the horse was no longer the main mode of transportation. There's people who still are obsessed with it. I was watching a bunch of Yellowstone in Las Vegas. I was like watching the marathon, and it's like literally as if cars don't exist. It's just horses everywhere. The governor of Montana is riding around on a horse. Maybe that's what it's like when you're up there, Randy. But I mean, obviously there's plenty of culture around that world, and I can't imagine people won't be stoked about cars in the same way for 100 years to come.
And there are an emerging genre of enthusiasts around electric cars too.
Totally.
So
That's happening. Plenty of room there too. Or people putting electric motors in other interesting cars and doing interesting things with them.
I just like to see enthusiasm around car type stuff or motorcycle type stuff or adventure, basically adventure, right? I think people need adventure in their lives and it's not on YouTube. You know what I mean? It's
road
like
trips across the desert,
go
buddy.
take a walk, go do something outside, So there's I think there's cool things to be done and cars are a fun part of that. For some people, it doesn't have to be for everybody, but thankfully there's a critical mass, I think, of a lot of people that are pumped on, man, this inventory as I scroll through and look at some of these crazy listings that we have. Thankfully, those are going to buyers, man. And what are they doing with them? I always want to know. That's the other thing that I want to holler out to the audience is, if you bought a car on BAT and you're doing something cool in it, we'd love to be part of that or know about it or hear about it, right? Because that's what stokes people to hear that somebody's going to buy this 69 Mustang convertible with a huge motor in it, 428 powered, swapped in, and they're going to go take that somewhere.
To the guy buying the Mitsubishi Rosa 26-seat passenger bus tomorrow, please tell us what you're doing with that
What
thing.
are you doing with that, right? You know, this Blazer that's like camo. What's that guy going to do with that thing? You know, this K fire truck. I mean, where are you going to go? What are you going to do?
Extinguish some fires.
Man, and people are paying up for these 993s. Where are you going to go drive it? You know, you're going to go run those pilot cups down to nothing? That's what I hope you're going to go do.
Hope so.
Right? So
Absolutely.
anyway, that's what Michelin hopes you're going to do. Anyway, that's my soapbox, but it's exciting to me. That story of each of the cars, the people that buy them, where they go. I'm thankful to be part of that whole ecosystem.
Well, go take a walk is the best advice anyone's ever going to get listening to this podcast. So I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, pop in your earbuds and listen to BAT and then come home and go rip in your manual transmission, whatever.
Watch Matt Crandall's NSX video ripping Alex's car
Totally.
up to red
Josh
line
probably.
That's
absolutely. Enjoying those long gears and that NA motor in the desert, combining all my favorite loves.
Go buy this 77 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham and go roll it somewhere interesting.
Just don't buy an Audi. Your quote was something like, what did you say? Your problems follow you in an Audi. Randy Nonnenberg.
Signed, Randy Nonnenberg. Pretty much. It's pretty true. Man, they look good though, don't they?
They sure do, even when broken down.
They sure look good.
All right, gentlemen. What a pleasure. I told you we'd have no problem talking about things.
As you could tell, I can go on and on and on and on. Oh, wait, we didn't talk about that. Hold on. We have to talk about this vehicle. The Suburban 2500 7.4 liter 4x4 1999. That everybody go look at this. That is lot 171780. That is my ideal, maybe SUV like of all time. I mean, that is just so great. Big block steel wheel.
The steel wheels really make that one.
Oh man, it's almost like government spec, but it's a little bit nicer with a chrome grille in it, you know. And anyway, when is that ending? That thing's ending in 2 days. It's going to go for under 20 grand.
See, but that's like what does the person who buy that do with it? There's definitely some Venn diagram overlap with fire extinguishing people and horse people and all that.
Fire extinguishing people. Those are called firefighters.
Yeah, but or people who are enthusiasts for fire. Yeah,
I was going to say, I mean, this is like what you'd see in my town growing up, towing boats to the lake.
100%.
Do you see where it's for sale?
Where is it?
Sacramento.
It's like 2 blocks away from the house you grew up in. Everybody had these. Everybody had a Mastercraft behind them.
I think
they were all going to Don Pedro.
Needs a ski boat.
Oh, it definitely needs a ski boat. But anyway, this thing is so great. Zach, it's so true. It's such a Sacramento, Central Valley, barefoot sanger behind it.
Throw all the kids in there. Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway,
where are you going? Going to the lake.
The person who buys this has a cool life. So anyway, I hope that goes to a good winner. It's no reserve, so we'll see who gets it. But anyway, great chat with you guys. Great episode. I'm thankful for this and our ability to get together and rap about cars.
1000%. Zach, any parting shots?
No. Randy said it best.
What a pleasure it is doing this with you guys. I agree that this is what I'm most thankful for. But
I'm thankful that Chris.
We never end this.
I was
always
about
just
to.
have. One more thing. There's a tank on the website.
No.
Okay, what are you going to say?
He can slice this off. This can be for his own personal listening. But I'm thankful that Chris does such a good job editing and producing.
Oh man, he makes us sound so much better than we actually are. Yeah, that's very true. Me especially. I misspeak so much. So,
Chris, thanks for deepening my voice 3 tones before you release this.
Randy has a fantastic radio voice. I hear people were giving compliments on the intro, the Randy welcome to the BAT podcast intro. So
the blip intro.
Great.
996 roof GT Porsche conversion. Thumbs up or thumbs down? I'm thumbs down.
Wait,
what are you?
We have Alloy Roof's former
That's his car.
Yes,
yeah, that's his car.
Is this the R Turbo?
This is the one I'm asking you about. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Huge thumbs up for me. The
you
blue
guys
car?
I knew it would be 2 on 1, so I had to be contrary on that. And
your thumbs down?
Yeah,
I
why
can't
are you
handle
down?
that. If it's a roof, it's got to be a 964 or earlier in my view.
Oh, interesting.
I was not into the later roofs, but I know some people are. So
Remember, there
I'm
was
cool
the
with
one
that.
at our hotel at Monterey this year. There was a silver.
With the rear fender scoop.
Yeah, and they're like weird. They're like triangle.
There's the scoop.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how you
it.
call 'em
Totally.
out.
Totally.
Anyway, yeah, fascinating car, but not my jam, but it is your guys' jam, and you
It's
ought
not
to go.
not over like a drip rail delete car from the 90s. That's like much better in my opinion. Or that's
Correct.
maybe even 80s.
RCT.
The
Yes.
CTR3.
CTR.
CTR3 didn't do anything for you when they
I
made that
can't
crazy
do- no,
mid-engine car?
I can't do
I
that.
think they're cool.
And even this new one they came out with is, what's the brand new one? Or is
I
that?
thought don't they have carbon bodied 911s
Yeah, the
now
new
that
crazy
aren't
one.
really
Like I think those
911s?
they're not 911s, but
Yep.
they're fascinating. Like I'm actually kind of back in on those. I think that's cool. But yeah, 996 era. roof
You're kind of
cars.
down on
It's
996
not for
era
me.
in general. So
No, your car is the best 996 there is, man, and I love
it's a
it.
pretty good one.
It is a very good one. So anyway, let's say we're going to end it and then have one more topic to insert.
Zach
into
has
the-
one. I can tell
insert
he's
into the
looking.
There it
podcast.
is. Best of the worst. The 996 GT3.
Oh, best of the worst. That's Randy's quote is Audis, your problems follow you, and Zach's is the 996 is
Yeah.
the best of the
Best
worst.
of the worst.
Ugh,
That's
God.
okay. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm thankful for your guys' honesty. That's like really what it
It's
is.
a little getting a little harsh.
Yeah, no, it's
I like
great.
your car. You're probably going to sell that. Drive that to the desert. and
No,
sell
that's
it too.
the thing. Like I'm gonna. That's the one. Zach's convinced me on that. That's the one to
Oh.
hold. I'm gonna sit on that.
Right.
I like
Breaking
Thankful I
news.
still have my stock wheels for my car.
Breaking
Randy
news.
walked up and he's like, "Whoa!" He hadn't seen your white wheels
Can't
yet.
handle it.
Oh, I
Can't
knew
handle it,
you'd
Zach.
say
you
that.
knew
I
I couldn't
knew
handle
you'd
it
say
when
that.
you ordered them. You knew I couldn't handle it. But that's okay. Everybody, individualism is good and alive and well.
Don't worry, Zach. Randy's voice is nagging at me in the back of my head with everything I do too. Every taste choice I make with cars, and I'm
Why?
thankful for that.
I like weird stuff that you guys don't want. It's fine.
Did I tell you I
gotta
fit
do
all
your
four
thing.
of those with tires mounted in the M3?
Wow.
So that's a pretty cool moment.
Yeah.
But
it
it
was-
would have been cooler if
Did-
they were going to be mounted on the M3.
Did one have to be on the passenger seat?
Yes. I had to drive so close to the airbag. I was like, if any minor accident, I'm dead on impact for sure.
So you had two in the back
The
seat,
wheel was
one
just touching
passenger
my-
seat, and one in the trunk.
I got 3 in the back seat and then
Whoa.
1 on the passenger, kind of tilted.
None of them would fit in the trunk.
Were you
No.
able to buy those wheels in the US? Tell
No.
people what we're even talking about. I've seen the car.
I put a set of 19-inch TE37s on the 997 GT3, which are rare wheels to find because Porsche Bolt patterned is.
Just stop and let people marinate on that
It's
remark
also a white GT3.
that you just made.
So it's white.
Volk wheels on a Porsche GT3.
Yeah. Well, I had them on the green Cayman when I had it too.
I know you
They
did.
weren't color matched though.
That's true.
And they were
And we still
18s.
have those. Those are still
I know.
available downstairs.
Just stop on by.
In the wheel stockpile.
I know I'm getting out of control.
Well done. Okay. That happened. And people maybe will be looking for pictures of that vehicle.
I'm thankful for witnessing that conversation that just happened. I remain thankful for so many things.
We're having too much fun.
Oh, it's what a pleasure it is, gentlemen.
Customizing wheel choices.
Well, you know who else we're thankful for is all the people who listened to this and made it this far. So God bless all of you.
Which
And-
reminds me, I just saw my mom.
there we go. You
I
knew
saw
it.
my mom this last weekend, and she's like, "Oh, I listened to your podcast." I was like, "Oh, that's great. Did you listen to the John Cena one? Because that one's actually been kind of kicking around and stuff." And she's like, "No, I listened to one with Alex and Randy."
So
It's like, "Oh,
not one
you
that
didn't listen to one with me on there?" Normally, I'd expect that out of my dad.
No. She listened to us three. She
No.
didn't listen to just he and I.
No, my mom actually did. She did not listen to any of the ones.
What
with
did
me
she
on there.
think of us? Did she like us?
Yeah, way better than me, obviously.
She
That
didn't
was
mention that she also listened to one with Zach and didn't think that one was that great.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, she was like, "It's so nice to hear 2 people that work at BAT that I'm proud of."
Totally.
There it goes.
Well, you know what? We're thankful for Zach's mom,
Yes.
even if she's not thankful for her son.
Maybe she'll listen to this one.
I hope so. She's going to have to mute it when Zach comes on now.
Yeah. No, she won't because I'm on here.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you for that. And thank all of you for listening. And happy Thanksgiving to all of you. We will catch you next time.